You got it, baby. Let's go. Let's go, dude. Let's go.
Man.
Yeah.
Welcome to the first episode of Manifesting, podcast about former athletes turned entrepreneur. I am your host, Tyler Jaynes, former Baylor football player and founder of Influxer. Today we have Nardi Meyers with us, one and only.
Let's go.
He is the founder of Energy Check. And
Absolutely.
Tell us a little bit about Energy Check.
So Energy Check for me started as a wellness check on my social media. I was having one of those low energy days, and I'm a very high energy person, if you didn't know. And so I could only imagine that if my energy low, how everybody else was feeling. So I pulled up to a spot where I had the right lighting, and I went to my Instagram and I was like, listen, whatever you're going through today is going to be okay. This is an energy check. The lighting was right. The colors matched. And when I posted, I didn't know the reaction that I was going to get from that, because I was doing that to put life back into me. And that actually helped other people, finish their day of them going down on the crash. And I'm like, what? So I'm like, dang, a lot of people was DMing me telling me, hey, look, what you just posted helped me get through the day. You don't even know that I'm dealing with X, Y, and Z. And what you just said helped push me through it. Or, I wasn't really feeling too well, but you put a smile on my face. You have an infectious smile. Keep being you. I'm like, okay. And it just turned into a routine, because I'm all about helping the next person. And with my social media platform, I can just post one post and hit a lot of people instead of texting or calling, hey man, how you doing today? So my agent, who's a really amazing guy, he was like, you should make t-shirts. I'm like, nah, I don't want to make no t-shirts. I don't want to do this to start a brand. I'm just yelling energy check to uplift people. So a few days go by, and I'm like, maybe I should do t-shirts. One of my best friends, man, that's your slogan. You got to go by this. This is your slogan. I'm like, yeah, you sure is right. So I reached back out to my agent, and I told him, I'm like, look, let's make t-shirts. He's like, I knew he was going to come back around. So I went to go work out with Michael Irvin at a facility, I want to say in Carrollton. And we was working out. I'm talking about Michael Irvin is a beast, first of all. He still got it. So I got my energy check shirt on, and I'm like, this is the day I'm going to launch it. Without even knowing Michael Irvin was going to be there, I'm like, oh man, I got to get him to yell the energy check, and then that's going to start the launch for the shirt, right?
No way.
So I'm talking about in this workout, bro, we were competing left and right, just going crazy. Him and his granddaughter and a few of my NFL clients as well. And I'm like, just asked him. So we get to the end of the workout, and I'm like, Mike, man, you did so good today. He was like, oh, appreciate it, young blood. You know how he talk. And so I'm like, man, I got this brand called Energy Check. And I was like, man, what I do, I go to my social media, and I just yell, Energy Check, to get the people spirits up and just get those endorphins moving. And he was like, oh, yeah, I got you. So we do the first take, and Mike was Mike, right? And I'm like, oh, that's it. He was like, no. Let's do it again. I said, oh, okay, bet, let's do it. So then the second time was perfect. Like, I thought the first time was perfect just because I got him in the video. Second time was perfect. So I'm like trying to keep my composure together, because I'm like, this is it right here. So I posted it on my Instagram. I'm like, Energy Check shirts are out now, taking pre-orders. So I'm not really thinking much of it. I'm just me being me. DMs going crazy. Bing, bing, bing. I'm like, okay. So I'm taking these orders, and I'm telling them the price. And it's like, okay, cool, let me get 4. Oh, let me get 3. Let me get 2. You know what? Hey, bro, let me get one of every color. Man. I'm like, for real? Yeah, bro, like, I love what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. Oh, okay, bet. So I looked up, and I'm like, dang, okay, the first week was like 200 plus orders. The next week was like 100 and something, and it consistently stayed at 100. I'm like, dang, I didn't know I had this much love, because I'm not from Dallas. Like, I just moved out here, but I got a little motion because I deal with a lot of NFL guys, NBA guys. My agent come to me again. Hey, you should have a pop-up shop. I'm like, pop-up shop? Man, that sound weak. I'm not from Dallas. Apparently it's popular in Dallas for people to do whenever they start their own brand or trying to get established in the city. A week or two go by. I'm like, maybe a pop-up shop will be dope. And I'm like, I'm fitness, sell workout apparel for women and men. I'm like, that might be cool. Talking to him, he's like, look, it's going to go by fast. We got to prepare now, but we going to set it at this time. So I'm like, okay. But I kid you not, I blinked and I was like, so it's the day before the actual pop-up event. And I'm so nervous. I'm like, what if nobody comes? We just spent all this money for this
Where
pop-up.
was it?
It was at Center off Mockingbird, the sneaker shop.
Yeah.
I'm really good with those guys over there because I cut the UT football players as well. And one of the investors of Center coaches at UT. So he knew of me from going back and forth from here to there. It was the day before the pop-up shop. And all of a sudden, this thought came of, what if nobody shows up? Or like, what
Always have that doubt.
like, you know what I'm saying? And so I got like really nervous, but I wasn't nervous. And so you know how that doubt starts to creep in. And so I called one of my really good friends that I look at like my spiritual brother. And I'm like, hey, bro, I don't think nobody gonna come. He said, man, you know who you are? Like, man, you that guy. You the energy check, man. Everybody finna come out and show love to you. And the way he said it was like perfect for me to feel better, right? The day of is here. And I'm like, okay, here you go. My mom coming to town. And my mom has never been to Dallas since I've been here. So that was her first time in Dallas. So that I'd been in Dallas like 2 years at that point.
Wow.
So that was her first time here. That brought her down. And in my story, the family that I used to live with when my mom was in prison, they came down. And then we get there, and I see all of these people. And I'm like, what the? And I'm like really just caught off guard because I'm like, everything just looks so perfect. I'm like, the store setup was dope. My energy check apparel throughout the store. Then you got their sneakers. And I'm like, is this really like for me? Like, okay. So then I go in, I'm talking to a few of my sponsors. And I'm like, I just feel love, the energy, peaceful. Mind you, this is right in the middle of a pandemic. So everything was shut down. Everybody's wearing masks. That's another reason why I was concerned that like nobody's going to come because the pandemic has just happened. So then we get there. We're telling everybody masks are mandatory because that's what's going on throughout the world. You probably see maybe one person with a mask on. And it was well over 1,500 people there. And
Wow.
in rotation, like going in and out of the store, enjoying the beverages, the food, like shopping. Like when I tell you I took a step back, I never take a step back in anything that I do from me growing up as a kid to that day. And I took a step back and I see my mom smiling, taking pictures at the Step and Repeat. And I see the family that I moved with whenever she went to prison smiling, taking pictures, drinking, dancing. And I started crying. And I was like, what the? I'm like, nah, I ain't know.
It was supposed to be.
I'm like, nah. So I turned my back and then like I walked 2 or 3 steps down the other way so nobody could see me. So I'm like, no, I'm good. Boy, what's wrong with you? So then I turn back around and then I see my mom. She's like, son, come take a picture with us. And then I lost it again. Oh, I'm like, no. So then I hear my agent Willie, Nardi, are you crying? I'm like, no, my there's something in the air. Like I'm trying to get it together, bro. But I got to witness a beautiful moment of energy check manifested on a scale that I could never imagine. I had so many celebrities there that were like my clients that you would have never known because the energy, everybody was even. Everybody was respectful. Everybody was showing love, hugs. Once people left that event, they was like, oh man, I didn't know what's name was there. Oh, he was there. Oh, she was there. I had the first female black doctor there. I had a few of my NBA guys there, NFL guys. Like I had the who's who in Dallas at my event. And I couldn't have planned it no better.
Wow. And how long ago was that?
That was in 2020? No. What were we in 2020. October 17, 2020.
And so how long have you been in Dallas?
So I've been in Dallas for 4 years.
Okay.
4 years now, yeah.
Okay. So, I've known you for a long time now, and you've
Yes, sir.
always just had just upbeat energy. I don't
Yes,
know if
sir.
I've ever seen you have a bad day or
Right.
like a downtime. And, even our friendship goes all the way back to when we were little kids. And
Yes, sir.
Why, do you remember back then, why were you always just so full of energy? Why, anything in you at that time that you can remember?
Man, to be completely honest with you, transparent, I'm going to be vulnerable because in order for people to understand that what they're going through in life is just a phase. So my phase of life, it started, I was growing up in Waco, Texas. My mom, who was blessed with 5 beautiful kids, 4 girls, 1 boy. So I had to become man of the house very early. At the time, Waco crime rate was really bad. The kids were either dropping out of school to join a gang, sell drugs, or just being a victim of the system. And my mom, she did her best to try to keep us active in extracurricular activities at school or sports outside of school. So we don't really know our fathers, right? And that's okay. I never knew what I was missing because she did a really good job of holding us down. By her trying to find a way to support us, she had to do some things that she wasn't proud of, but she found a way to make a way. You know what I'm saying? That got her some time, and she had to go to prison. So the only person that I know to love is my mom, right? And now she's gone, so all of us get split up, and we're living with different families. Of course, I'm a kid. I don't really know what's going on. I'm just going to cry myself to sleep, hoping that's going to bring her back. Well, I did that for a while, and I came to the realization that I keep crying, thinking it's going to bring her back, but it's not bringing her back. So I'm like, let me do something that'll make her proud, right? So let me become like the best student in school, and let me perform the best I can perform at everything that I do sports-wise. And when she come back, she can say, I'm proud of you for doing, a great job while I was gone. So at that age, I didn't know my mind was stronger.
And how old were you when she went?
I was in 2nd grade.
Okay.
I was going into my second grade.
And is that when you split up and you moved into?
With another family.
With another family. And where was that family at?
In Belmead, La Vega.
Okay.
So I went to La Vega before I went to Gatesville.
Got it.
So in that family, man, they taught me the principles of a dollar and how to work for what you want. Because upon arriving to the house, I'm like, dang, y'all rich. Like, that's my first thought, because I lived in the projects. And at that time, it was common for us to see police out smoking weed with the drug dealers or the gang members, or fights always breaking out. Like, it was religious to see a high-speed police chase at least once a day. We would always be on TV watching it the night of. Like, oh, look, we on TV, we famous. And mind you, we're not even on the TV. We just, like, in the area, like, from the top view, Yeah. So they taught me a lot, man, and I appreciate them so much, because I never wanted or went without anything. I had the finest sneakers, the finest gear, whatever it is.
Still do today.
Yeah, so it was beautiful for me to experience that, because my mom, she had her own way of living, and they had their own way. So I took bits and pieces from them and made it me. Fast forward, she comes home, I get out, she get out, I go move with her. And
when is this? How old are you now?
I want to say going into 4th grade.
Okay.
Yeah, going into 4th or 5th grade. It might be 5th grade. So she's living at my grandmother's house, and so is a lot of people. So my grandmother's house is a 2-bedroom apartment. It's not I'm telling you, it's about the biggest this room. I'm not even kidding. And there's like 2 or 3 different families living in it, but we don't know that that's not okay, because we all find peace. We found peace in what was going on. So I'm living there. When I have the option to literally go back to the family I just left, who has everything, my own room, like
but you want to be with your mom.
Right, because that's my first love. Right. Man, my mom, she's trying to figure it out, end up getting a place. So then I end up going to middle school in Temple. Well, my cousin Lake C. Strunk, I was always in his shadows no matter what I did, no matter how much I outperformed him or whatever. So, you going to be as good as your cousin? You going to be as good as your cousin? So I started running AAU track. I meet this guy named Coach Ford. And I'm like, man, I don't want to go. You know how everybody likes somebody, but it's always that one person that's like, oh, I don't care. I ain't finna kiss his butt. Coach Ford was that guy for my cousin Lake. And so whenever I would tell him, hey, look, I don't want to be in my cousin's shadow. Like, I don't want to go to Temple High. Like, I want to go to a different school. He was like, you know what? I can figure something out for you. Boom, boom, boom. So I end up going to Gatesville High School to start my own journey and to get out of this shadow, right? So I get to this new beginning, and I'm like, okay, here you go.
And where's your mom at?
My mom is still in Temple. In Temple, yeah.
Okay.
So she was like, if this is what you want to do, I support it. Just be careful. Call me if you need me. Okay. We've always had distant love, but we knew what it was without having to be around each other 24/7. So she trusts, and she prayed a lot, and she knew that God was gonna protect me even though she couldn't. So Gatesville, and I just hit the ground running. I'm talking about I went from doing cross country, football, basketball, track. I was trying to play baseball, but because it messed up track season, they wouldn't let me go. I was trying to do every sport that there was to do because I was like, I gotta make a name for myself. I don't know nobody here, but I made friends with everybody. And so my humble beginnings made me appreciate the little things that I didn't even really understand, that in society's eyes, it's like nobody want to live like that. That's poverty. Like nobody lives like that no more. Or I would have freaked out if I would have had to go to a house full of people and we only got a 1-bedroom house or whatever. And so that just made me so thankful. And so that kind of just turned me up, man.
And so who were you living with in Gatesville, Coach Ford?
I was living with his parents.
His parents.
Lee Ford and Desi Ford, and they're pastors and wife of a church in Gatesville. So I was in church singing in the choir. I never invited none of my friends from Gatesville High School to come listen to me sing, but it was just a different type of structure that they instilled with religion. You're gonna do this, you're gonna do that, and I'm like, okay, whatever.
So you knew being in Gatesville, like that was not gonna be permanent, because I know small towns, a lot of times people end up in the same city that they graduated high school, but you knew back then this was just temporary.
Oh, absolutely. I had it made up in my mind that in middle school in Temple, I used to see the has-beens in Temple High who used to be All-American football players in high school, and now they work at HEB. I have nothing against that, nothing at all. But it's, why didn't you do something with your career that you had while you was growing up? And so I'm like, once I get that opportunity, once I leave my stamp in every city that I'm supposed to be in, I can't come back, because I want that to be, oh, this is his stamp. He came here and broke every record, and he left and went to another school and did the same thing. So I don't want to ever relive my glory days in a city that's in the past. What can I create now in another place? So that was always my mindset. So once I left Gatesville, the only time I came back was to speak to the kids and give back in a different way, because that's a part of me that helped mold me for the next level of my life.
Wow. And so when you were going through high school and you're playing all these sports, at what point did you realize, like, okay, I'm more passionate about this sport, and what was that sport, or multiple sports?
Man, it's going to make you laugh. So I actually hated football. Hated it. I was good at it. So I'm one of them people that if I'm good, I'm going to give it my all, or I'm not going to do it at all. One day I got bit up by some ants. We stretch on the ground. I got bit up by some ants
dirt fields,
in football practice. Yes, bro. And by some ants, and I'm on the ground. I'm like, man, I'm gonna quit football because I got bit up by some ants, bro. And I didn't got smashed, tackled, and all this stuff, and that never made me wanted to quit. But them ants, they told me up, man. I wanted to quit. But my favorite sport was basketball or cross country. I enjoyed that so much because of the coaches. I loved football because Coach Cooper was a really great coach. He made me love football, but just like a natural cross country and basketball, because I'm like, I can run for days. I've been running track since I was little. And then basketball, I'm trying to go play at North Carolina like Michael Jordan. So that's like my first love. So unfortunately, I took the smarter option with football because I was blessed with multiple different offers, partials, full rides, and they even let me play the position I wanted to play. And so with me knowing the financial situation with my family, I'm like, my mom and them can't pay for college. And I didn't even have to go to college. My mom told me, she said, as long as you get a high school degree, you're okay. That's what she told me.
Right. And you were all about just wanting to make your mom proud.
Yes. And so what comes with that is you don't stop. Like, you never stop making her proud. It's like, okay, you did this, now what? You did this, now what? So I was never able to bask in my success. I let everybody else around me do it. So somebody was like, hey, bro, you just broke it. I'm like, okay, well, I got to practice because I'm not competing against the people in my district, the country. So it's like, come on, let's keep working.
Right. And so then you get all these offers and you ultimately end up at Tarleton State University.
Absolutely.
And tell us about your experience there, playing football there.
Whew, let me tell you. So going into college, I was always told, well, before I got to college, I was always told college is going to be harder than high school. A lot of people fell out and flunk out their first semester.
Yeah.
That's all I'm hearing, right? So then I'm like, well, I weigh 135.
Soaking wet.
As a senior in high school, about to go play college football against some grown men, right? So I'm like, okay. But my mindset was different. So I'm like, well, I get there. I'm like, let me just give it my all. And if I fail, I can say I tried. I gave it my best. Same thing with football. I get to my dorm. My mom had went ahead, because we had orientation, set up my room and everything. I get back to my room. I look over to the other side of the room, and I see my roommate. So imagine Terry Crews from White Chicks in a muscle shirt, just looking at you like, oh, what's up, bro? And I'm like, dang. He's like, can I have some of your chicken? I'm like, I mean, you can have it. You can have whatever you want. So I'm like, bro, this dude was so big. And I'm like, but we had the same mindset. He didn't feel like he was smart enough to be there. Neither did I. And we was like, man, we just going to have to ball and see what happens.
How was it what was that like with your mom moving in and, you're going to college?
Yeah.
You're going to play football.
Yeah.
All she ever expected or wanted from you was to go to just graduate high school.
Right.
And here we are. What was that day like?
She was really proud. I was the first person in my family to go to college, and I didn't even know that until after I graduated college. And she had told me, she was like, son, I'm so proud of you. But I never could receive that because I'm not done yet, right? So I took it, I heard it, and I didn't know it was a tradition for your family to take you to college and help you set up everything. So I kept trying to figure out, like, I'm like, you don't have to take me, like, somebody else will take me. But I didn't know that was a thing because family oriented, but like from a distance, you know what I'm saying? But it was something that I was used to in a different way. So my mom came in, dropped me off at college, and that was the start of something great that I had no idea. So we're getting ready to go to our first practice. One of the coaches is like, what are you, a kicker? I'm like, no, sir. He's like, what you play? I said, I'm a receiver and like a specialist, like special teams and stuff like that, punt return, kickoff return. He's like, you must can run fast and jump high. So I'm like, yes, sir. So I just started laughing because I was so small that I looked like a kicker, and our kickers were bigger than I was. I kid you not. So I don't know if you remember in high school when I had those black and gold cleats that said 88 gotta go. So I had those on my first day of practice, and so I was listed as the last Z. So there was like 7 or 8 Z's in front of me. I was listed as the last one. By the end of that day, I was running with the 1s and 2s.
Wow.
Because my mindset was like, if I'm going to fail or flunk out of college, I'm going to flunk out going full speed. Man, I got the ball, and in my mind, I know what I can do. I'm not worried about y'all, but I know what y'all think y'all were going to do to me. I caught that first screen pass. I seen these big old dudes coming. Not today. Do my little moves, and it was one of those things where like an N1 mixtape, and how everybody go crazy once you do your move. They're like, oh! Yeah. And I was like, why they yelling? So I make all these dudes fall, and I took off and scored. And then they was like, yeah! I'm like, what? Like, I'm trying to figure out, because mind you, I got tunnel vision, because I'm like, okay, I got to do it again. Yeah, like I got to do it again. And they was like, who the F is this kid? And I'm like, why these people acting like this? Like, I'm like one of the smallest people. Man, when I tell you I did more than I thought I could do. Well, I did more than I ever could imagine because of my mindset and how selfless of a person I was, because I'm like, I'm finna give my all for y'all, but then like for myself, I gotta go full speed and just make something happen.
That's always one of the beautiful things about being on a team, man. It's just like feeling that support.
Absolutely.
And then being a part of like, the people that look up to you. I remember whenever I was in high school, we were teammates in high school. You were a couple years older than me. And
right.
You were somebody that I always looked up to and I always could like rely on.
Yeah.
And I learned through life that sometimes you don't give enough gratitude in this moment. And I'm here to tell you today, like, I am so grateful that you were above where I am. And I can honestly say you played a major part into, everything that we're doing today and making it to Dallas and me starting a company. Like my sophomore year of high school, I looked up to people like you because and looked up to you directly.
Yeah.
Even though you broke my collarbone.
Yeah.
You broke my collarbone.
I remember
Still
that.
look up to you,
Yeah.
and it's awesome because
Yeah.
it's inspiring. And so I know that's got to be. I want to make sure I say that to you today. And you going through Tarleton and being a part of the team, you get to experience so much of that. And I'm sure there was people you looked up to going through high school and going through college, and being around those guys all the time. That's what is so special about being a part of a team is getting all of these different personalities and figuring out, okay, I really like what that person does, or I don't like what that person does.
Yeah.
And so I'm just not going to do that, but I'm going to make my own way based off of all the feedback that I'm receiving. So, no, that's awesome. And so you go from, when you're at Tarleton, what's kind of your mindset as far as, okay, I'm going to start?
Okay.
Or when did you realize, like, all right, I'm going to be a starter?
So believe it or not, my goal was never to be a starter, right? My goal was to be the best version of myself as an athlete and also as a well coachable player. So that was my mindset. And so I think where a lot of people get confused is it's like, oh, I'm gonna be the best this, I'm gonna be the best that, but like how, right? So you gotta do the small things, knowing the playbooks or knowing how to watch film or watch it like a lot to where you learn and you catch up on patterns and certain formations and what this particular corner is going to do whenever you play this team and versus another corner. I became like a film junkie. So I used to watch film all the time because I wanted the coaches to know that, hey, I'm serious about this even though I'm this small, right? So I was like a small package but a dynamite because I was at, in a football game, you're one exciting play away from making the game like a game-changing moment. I was that player and didn't even know it until I left college because my mind was like, I'm playing for my team. And so all the records and stuff that I broke, man, like still to this day, I can't even name to you what they are because I didn't try to break them. Like I didn't go to the list and like, okay, I'm going to break his record. I'm going to break his record. I'm going to break this record. Hey, coach, I need the ball this many times so I can break No. We oftentimes look at the bigger picture when you should be looking at the person who's painting the picture.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And for me, because I'm so simple, I'm very simple. I'm a simpleton. My coach used to, hey, you dang simpleton. That's what he used to say all the time. And I never got offended by that because if you can explain it to me to where I understand it, I can explain it in the simplest form so other people can understand it because I've always had a learning disability.
Good quality to have.
Man, I've always had a learning disability of being dyslexic. And a lot of people don't know that unless I tell you, and I'm not ashamed of it at all. So I used to get my B's and D's mixed up, my 6s and 9s. When I would be reading, my brain would autofill what the next word should be instead of reading what the next word is sometimes. And I would even get caught up in numbers. My mind just plays these little mental gymnastics with me, man. And so we would have, let's say, 98 X Z drag, right? Then they'll tag like a Y in the middle of the play. And I'm like, oh, dang, what's Y? Or really it just means the backside is the play side and the play side is the backside. So I'm like, what? So I'm lined up. I'm like, I don't know what to do. So in practice, sometimes I would mess up because I would overthink too much. And it's just a simple tag. So like I literally had to invest time and a whole lot of energy to want to be better. So when I'm out there on the field, the quarterback know I'm going to do my part, and so does the coach. And that just elevated me to another level, and I had no fear, bro. No fear. I knew the chances of you catching me is slim to none.
And so you finished with a very succcial career.
Yes, sir.
At Tarleton, broke a lot of records there, many of which still stand today, according to my research. And I mean, just awesome. But that's just the beginning.
Absolutely.
So what did you have aspirations of going to the NFL? And everybody does, right?
Man, so with me playing, the ideal thing is like, okay, yeah, man, let's see if I can make it to the NFL. Well, my junior and senior year, I started getting pulled out of practice by NFL scouts. Because my sophomore year, I started seeing some of our seniors and juniors that happened to them too. I'm like, oh, the scouts here, I got to show out today in practice. So I'm like going crazy, not understanding that they already got their eyes on the people that they're coming to see. So they started pulling me out of practice, and I'm like, me? Like, nah. Mind you, I'm probably at 165 weight wise, but my performance and my practice film is just a hard-working person who's making stuff happen. I don't see that. I'm like, I think y'all got the wrong person. I believe that things happen, good things could happen to me, but not to that extent. Like, I feel like it was just gonna be like, you got 2 more catches or whatever it was. But man, I got pulled out of practice so much that I was like, there's no way that they want me to play on the next level. Like, I'm too small, right? And I hadn't seen that many NFL guys, so I didn't know that a lot of them are my size, smaller, or even bigger. So I'm talking to these guys, and they're like, hey, look, we want you to come out here. We want to fly you out, to the facility. And I'm really like wowed, and I still really can't believe it. So I'm like, I guess it's really finna happen. So I'm talking to my mom, and I'm telling her what happened, what's going on. She was like, yeah, son. She said, well, once you take this next step, just know a lot of people gonna come out the woodworks. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, right. Like, I ain't nobody. After my last game, my school tagged me on Facebook. Nardi Meyers enter the NFL draft. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. Boy, phone, Instagram, Facebook, old friends posting older pictures of us as kids, random numbers calling me, hey, I'm an agent, I can help you. Oh, we cousins. I'm like, what is going on? I ain't even got to the NFL yet, so I'm really confused. It was one of those things where I felt like it was a movie. You ever see those movies where that one kid make it out the hood for his family? Yeah. And now everybody wants a piece of the pie. And that's exactly how I felt. So I deleted my Facebook, deleted my Instagram, deleted Snapchat, and I didn't change my number, but I would start like blocking people's numbers because it was a whole lot of distractions. And if you let the distractions get to your head, you'll be that. So if they're telling you, man, you the best, I knew you was gonna make it, bro. Like, you finna be the next so-and-so. I never listened to what nobody said. I always stayed focused and kept working. But because it was coming from every which way, I was like, hold on, slow down. Mm-hmm. Had knee surgery, did my physical therapy, my rehab process, got invited to the combine on TV. I thought that was dope, but I couldn't go because I just had knee surgery. So I'm like, okay, well, Adrian Peterson had just came off of his crazy surgery in a matter of like 3 or 4 months. That really would have took a year. So I said, man, AP did it, I'm finna do it. I had a microfracture and a meniscus tear, all in the same knee. My process of healing started going, and I felt good, but I'm like, come on, mind over body. But really, in reality, my leg was really out of there. It was done. My agent moved me down here to the Michael Johnson Performance Center in Frisco, or McKinney. So I go through that process. The Raiders, first team to call, I remember like it was yesterday. Hey, we want to fly you out next week to make sure that you can still perform, because we know you just had knee surgery. I'm like, okay, cool, yeah. Okay, we'll talk to your agent, get the tickets and stuff, the tickets and things, the tickets and all of that taken care of for you. I said, okay, cool. My agent called me. He said, hey, think you be ready by next week? I'm like, nah, I need like 2 more weeks. Mind you, my knee is really still not right.
It's not there.
But I don't want to lose the interest because I'm trying to get there for my family. Like, I'm trying to get us at that spot. Yeah. So then another week go by. Cowboys. I'm like, hey, we heard you down here at the facility. You want to come up for a private workout? We'll take care of everything for you. We'll talk to your agent. I'm like, okay, cool. Agent, hey, you think you're ready? I'm like, nah, I need 2 more weeks. And I kept doing that, which I was playing these games with my mind, and I didn't like it. I knew I could perform, it's just I couldn't right now because my knee is not right. So after talking to multiple different teams, playing mental gymnastics with myself once again, I started to get like kind of depressed because I'm like, man, like, it's not that I can't do it, I just really can't because of my knee. So I told my agent I need time away. Like, I got to take a step away because I was losing myself and who I was, like that high energy person, that positive person, that light for other people. So I just took a step back at that point, man. So then once I took a step back, I realized that it was more to life. And I knew I didn't even like football. Right. But I was riding that wave until it crashed.
Right. So then it all, I wouldn't say it crashed, but,
yeah.
Certainly I'm a big believer everything happens for a reason.
Same.
I'm sure you are too.
Absolutely.
And probably big blessing in disguise. I mean, if you weren't passionate about it, now you're on this journey. Football's over. What's the next step?
So I'm trying to figure out how I can still be the man, because you got to think I'm coming off of this pedestal of NFL draft, breaking all of these records. Everybody wants something from me.
Hard to deal with.
People are calling me not to ask how my leg doing, but like, what team you with?
Yeah.
So it's like, how do you deal with the come down from that?
Right.
Because you still want to say, oh yeah, I got to fly out next week to go to the whatever team, because that's what people want to hear. What do you want to do? So I just stopped answering phone calls. I started working as a valet down here in downtown Dallas, or uptown Dallas, at the Ashton, the Ashton, the Ritz-Carlton, and the
sure
Surge.
you're the best valet driver. Sprint the cars.
Yes.
Hey,
Fool.
how can I get?
When I tell you I was the best valet, and they was like, where'd y'all get this kid? Everybody requested me to like come do this and do that for different events and stuff. And so I was making connections to figure out what I was going to do next. So I did my research. I looked up 3 different businesses. I'm like, okay, I'm finna get vending machines. I'm finna get storage units, like buy my own storage unit, and then I'm finna get a funeral home. So I did the research on all of those things while I was at work in between, like the slow time. So I'm like, okay, cool. I had this little black book, man, with everything I needed to know about this organization or these businesses, so I can like take off whenever I get the right financial blessing. And then all of a sudden I had an epiphany out of nowhere. It was like, wait, you know how to cut hair? I'm like, wait, oh yeah. So why don't you market your business to celebrities and business owners, because you're networking with them right now at this moment, driving their Ferraris, Bentleys, Lambos, things of that nature, and just go from there. So I'm like, oh, because I taught myself how to cut hair in college as a side hustle. Mm. And I didn't want to use barbering as my future life, because I'm like, I have a degree. I'm going to work for corporate America or something. Man, I put 2 and 2 together. All of a sudden, I get this bright idea to quit valeting. One of the guys that comes and wash cars there, he and I have a conversation of, hey man, so what you gonna do, man? Because people used to tell me all the time, like, you're not supposed to be working here. Like, you have so much in you, like you're just like full of life. And I'm like, yeah, I'm just trying to network so I can get my business going. He was like, man, look, I know you're worried. We're having a conversation. And he's like, this is your time for you to take that leap of faith. I'm really good at telling people to take a leap of faith, to believe in themselves. And this is the trying time for me, that I was like questioning it. He was the only person, even though other people were telling me to go ahead, go, that his words hit home for me. And then I quit the next day. And so I'm like, let's go, it's go time. And people's idea of starting a business is like, when you watch a movie like Wolf of Wall Street, and all of a sudden you're like a millionaire overnight. Yeah. No.
Not like that.
No. Man, my first day, I didn't have no clients. And here's where your mind will play tricks with you. My mom was like, see, you made the wrong decision. You better go ask for your job back. And I'm like, no, hold on. Whenever you work your valet job, you always have at least 1 or 2 off days. This your off day. Go see your family. Come back and recruit. So I'm like, okay, cool. Distract my mind. Boom. Go home, go see my family, come back. The next day I cut like 2 heads. I said, okay. I got a little hope. I had a little money saved up too, so I'm like, okay.
And who were these 2 heads?
Jamil Showers.
Okay.
Jamil Showers. He was a backup quarterback for Tony Romo at that time with the Cowboys, and one of his teammates. I forgot his name as well.
How'd you get linked up with them?
Me and Jamil, he went to Killeen High School, and we had a mutual best friend, Trent Cadell. Right. So that was our guy, and he was actually trying to get me to come to A&M my senior year at Gatesville before I decided to go to Tarleton, because whenever he would come home during the break, we would throw and catch together and stuff. So he found out I was in town via social media, because I had remade my Instagram again, and all of those guys I was training with at Michael Johnson, they started popping up as the people you may know. And if I didn't follow them, they followed me. I didn't even know what a blue check was. I'm like, what the heck is this thing right here? And I'm like, oh, I know him. This bro. I'm like, wait, this dude got this many followers. I didn't know he was that lit. I'm trying to put the pieces together. Hey, bro, yeah, come here at the facility. I go cut his hair at the Star in Frisco. And I'm like, okay, it's okay. Yeah. I told him, I say, look, man, you post me on your Instagram, and I get some people to come get a cut from you. I'll cut your hair for free.
And what year
every
was
time. This is 19 or 18?
19 or 18.
Man, look, when I tell you, this was an exciting chapter of my life. I went from cutting the cowboy guys. Then one of the kids that I used to mentor while I was in high school and college ended up getting recruited to go play at Texas. He randomly called me one day. Hey, big bro, you still cutting hair? I'm down here in Texas. One of my college teammates at Tarleton transferred to Texas. The kid that I used to mentor and him became best friends. So he called me. He was like, yeah, I ain't know you know J Mart. Y'all played together at Tarleton. I'm like, yeah, you know J Mart? Hey, man, you need to come cut our hair. Our barber down here trash. I'm like, all right, bet. So then I shot to Austin, 3-hour drive. Cut the whole team, drove 3 hours back.
Wow.
My mindset was like, I gotta get this business going. I barely slept. People's like, man, something gonna happen to you, man, if you don't sleep. I'm like, nah, man, I can't sleep, so I'm rich, bro. Like, I'm trying to provide for my family, even though I'm out here by myself, staying in Dallas. And I just kept going. Then cut Derrick Henry here. Then it was just, God was blessing me for the work that I have done in the past at this point in time, because some of the stuff I couldn't imagine getting for myself. But because I was such a genuine person and I treated everybody with respect, God was like, oh, here's this. And I showed gratitude with everything, because I'm like, I wouldn't have got none of this like myself. Like, I'm just me. I don't know nobody.
And so how are you marketing yourself? Just through social media?
Post it? That's it. I'm like, post me on your social media. I'll take $20 off, because really what I was doing was...
And it wasn't just a normal barbershop. Like, no, you were going to the people.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would pull up to these guys' house, $100,000 house, and bring my clippers and get them taken care of. And I not only did I believe that I was doing the best that I could do, I was selling comfort too, because you got to think, if you got a barber that stink and you go get a haircut every time, you're like, man, I can't keep going back to him because he don't know how to shower. Or you got a barber that keep cutting you, you're like, okay, I'm not going back to him. But for some reason, I always have cuts around my face or my neck or something, like things that you don't like, right? I was selling comfort. So not only did you get a good haircut, not only did I not harass you for tickets or jersey signings, I was there to do my job and I left. If you wanted to talk to me, I'll let you talk. I'm not gonna, hey man, so how was the game? I didn't watch no football or no NBA games, because I did not want to make that the topic of discussion. Hey man, you shouldn't have dropped that punt during the game, man. When you're already getting ridiculed by everybody else. Yeah. I wanted you to have a place of peace.
A breath of fresh air.
That's it. Just refreshing.
Which is what you want when you're getting a haircut.
Absolutely. You just want to be able to chill. So because I was thinking outside the box, instead of trying to figure out how I can go be just like another barber in Dallas, I'm like, I believe in myself. I know what I can do. Wow.
That's awesome. And so you continue to do that today.
Absolutely.
And so through the midst of this, that's when Energy Check came about. Is there anything else that's going on that you're pursuing, entrepreneur? Yeah. I mean, you're doing the barber, you're doing Energy Checks, or anything else? Or is that kind of the main focus right now?
So Energy Check came about after I started doing my modeling. So my modeling agent found me from me being posted via social media from my clients from cutting their hair. And he saw that I had this look, whatever that look is, that he wanted to be a part of his agency. And I always had this pretty boy stigma to me, right? So I used to do stuff that pretty boys didn't do to not seem like a pretty boy, but sometimes you just can't run from what you are, right? Still to this day, I still don't accept it. And he gets mad at me, but just shut up. I'm like, yes, sir. Just shut up. So he reached out to me to be a model. And I didn't want to do it because of that stigma of me being a pretty boy. Oh, that's what pretty boy's supposed to do. I knew you was a pretty boy. For some reason, I just didn't like that, bro. I just did not like it.
So he reached out to you out of the blue?
Yeah, Instagram.
I sent you a DM?
Yeah. He was like, hey.
And how long ago was this?
This was 2019.
2019.
2019.
Okay.
So he reached out to me and I didn't respond. Cause I'm like, man, I don't know who this dude is. Like, this dude telling me he got an agency model. I'm like, I don't want to be a model. Like, I'm working. Like, I'm a barber. So then I keep going and I ran into him at the gym. And he was like, hey, are you Barber Nardi? Cause at the time that's what my Instagram name was. And I'm like, yeah, what's up? And he was like, oh, I'm the model. I'm the agent that's been reaching out to you about doing modeling. I'm like, okay. He's like, oh, I got this show and I want you to come. I said, okay, yeah. So I try to walk away. He's like, wait, I don't have your number. I'm like, oh, okay. So I gave him my number. He texted me the information. Still didn't go. So I had a conversation with one of my really close friends. And I was like, man, this dude keep hitting me up about doing modeling. And this is the first thing my friend said. He said, Nardi, if I had a body and look like you look, I have about 12 kids. Just try it. He's like, you do it, something comes of it, you'll be glad you tried it. If it doesn't, it don't. I said, all right, you know you're right. So then I finally messaged him back, did my first show, and I was like, I'm going to every show because of everything was so dope, different, beautiful women.
So you weren't doing the photo shoots, you were doing more of like the live runway stuff.
Yes, that's my first thing that I ever did was a live runway show at the Ritz-Carlton, a place I used to valet at.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Talking about a full circle.
Full circle.
Yeah.
That is awesome story there.
Yeah.
Who valeted your car? Did you valet your car there?
No. I did valet.
Valet your car there?
I did valet it, and then the guy was like, Nardi, what you doing here? I said, man, I'm in this show. Oh, bro, I got you. I'm parked you in the front. Normally, we make people pay extra to park in the front, but because I knew the guys, and they knew I was a good guy, and then even when I came out, they was like, how you get parked in the front? I'm like, man, I just know people. So it was a beautiful thing, man.
That's
Very
awesome.
Beautiful.
And so you started doing, that was your first one where, you obviously just tried it. Did you love it? Was it fun?
I did.
You were like, I'm going to do this again?
I did, man. I love women, but like I'm very respectful. Like I'm trying to say this in like the most respectful. I love women, but I'm very respectful. And I love all the aesthetics of a woman, right? And I can look at you and appreciate you from afar without having to, hey, baby, what's your name? Like, And there were so many beautiful people in general, like the guys, the women, people who were truly themselves. And you don't get that a lot nowadays because everybody's trying to be like somebody else. Mm-hmm. And I love that energy so much. And it was something new for me. And I'm like, I guess I do got what it takes to be a model. Even though I'm looking at all these beautiful people, I'm like, all of them look like models. I don't look like no model. I look like the football guy that got lucky and he got 1 or 2 tattoos and here, just get in there. But when I started, it was such an embracing thing for me, and I loved it, man. I got bit by that bug hard.
Really?
Yeah.
So continue to do more of it, and you still do it today.
Yes, sir.
Doing the barbershop.
Yeah.
The Celebrity Barber. Do you still go by Celebrity Barber?
It's on my Instagram in my bio.
Instagram bio.
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
that, okay.
Celebrity Barber. So I don't call myself the celebrity. I cut the celebrities.
That's what you're putting out
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
To
That's
let
what
people
it.
know
Yeah, because
what differentiates yourself.
I don't want people to think, oh, you calling yourself a celebrity? No.
It's not me.
I deal with the celebrity. Yeah, 100%. And so
So how do you balance all that?
My agent.
Your agent.
Yeah, my agent. So I for the most part.
Does he book the haircuts
some of them, like certain high profile people, I'll let them deal with them. Well, I'll let him deal with them because they like to use tricky wordplay, and it's like, no, this is the price, and I'm like, why you keep saying, oh, we can do. They like to say, what is it called? We can collab, or we can do. I'm gonna post you on my social media, and I'm like, I understand that, but this is still the price. People don't understand celebrities and well-off people, not all of them, but a handful of them, I'm going to say that. They like to try to figure out a way to get out of paying, right? Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that, but like you got to understand. Yeah, you got to understand, like, I'm grinding. Like, this is a stepping stone for me to figure out something else. I'm not going to address you like I would somebody in the street if somebody came up and slapped me in the face. I'm like, hey, man, I'm going to handle them respectfully, but then it just got to a point to where, okay, you want to try this? And I just switched them over to him. There's no wordplay that he takes. Is this or you're not getting a haircut? Is this or you're not using the model? Is this or you cut and dry?
Oh, your work.
I'm just too nice.
Right.
So like, Yeah, I'm just too nice, and I've learned a lot from him how people try to like mess you over because of who they think they are, not who they are, who they think they are.
Yeah.
So many people try to message me because they verified. Like, hey man, you know I'm verified. I can post you on my story. I'm like, still go talk to my agent. Like,
That's the right way to deal with it.
Yeah, that ain't got nothing. It's just, it's either you can react and have a rep for going off on your clients because they don't pay you or they trying to like scam you or whatever it is, or you can let somebody else handle it and that person looks like the bad person and you still look like the innocent saint. So it was a tricky way of going about it, but I'm thankful for him, and Energy Check stemmed from that. So the pop-up shop, I forgot to mention, went viral because it was during the pandemic. Mm-hmm. Nobody was outside, and so that made the news.
There's a group of people here. We gotta go get content for the news. It was the first thing we've had in months.
It was beautiful. So that went viral, made the news, and then life. I'm just like, wow.
So what's happened since the pop-up shop with Energy Check? Mm-hmm. Where has it gone since then, and where do you want it to go?
So Energy Check, I want y'all to hear this and hear this good. It's the #1 brand in the world. It's a ministry, it's a wellness brand, and it's a fitness athleisure wear. What we do is gonna be something totally different, or what we're doing is something totally different. We're not trying to get people to spend money with us. If you want to spend money, by all means. We're trying to help people mentally understand how great they are. A lot of people want to be motivational speakers and things of that nature. I'm going to plant these seeds. Me and my team are going to plant these seeds inside of you to help you water your own seed. That's why we here. That's why it's called an Energy Check. Listen, there's power in numbers. The more that we stick together, come together and become one, we're going to be unstoppable. So Energy Check is going to be the #1 brand in the world. J3 Productions is going to be the #1 model agent talent, right? J3 Production will be the #1 talent agency in the world. Everything that's connected to us will prosper. And I only say that because the manifesting powers, the frequency that I vibrate on is at an all-time high. And I'm here to use what God is blessing me with to change people's lives for the greater good.
That's so important. That's so important. That's so powerful. And that's exactly why, I named this podcast Manifesting. Mm-hmm. It's so powerful and really like tapping into people. And you say planting that seed into people. That's really all it takes.
Absolutely.
Is they need to hear it. They know it in their mind, but hearing it from somebody else, having that accountability partner, working as a team to all get to the same goal. None of us we're all young here.
Absolutely.
None of us are where we want to be yet.
Absolutely.
However, if you don't talk about it, you'll never do it.
Yeah.
If you don't at least try to put your mental fortitude towards it, it'll never happen.
Right.
So might as well say that it is going to be the #1 company in the world.
Absolutely.
Because it is.
Yeah.
Because if you don't believe that, it never will be.
Exactly.
So I love that very much. So that awesome. Great for sharing. And I hope we get to be, part of the journey. And
yes, sir.
Where do you see it being in 5 years?
This is where I see it. Your typical Nike
time to manifest
brand. Yeah. So on the manifestation podcast, it's time to manifest. I see Energy Check being just as big as Nike, if not bigger. I see Energy Check becoming the biggest ministry around the world. We're not forcing a religion on people. We're trying to get them tapped into their spirituality. Mm-hmm. We want to change the world, but it starts with one person at a time. Energy Check goes into schools once a week to go give back and to help these kids see the value in who they are and what they can become. That's not no game. Energy Check, we go out and serve the community by helping at homeless shelters, giving out free haircuts during back to school times, figuring out a way to serve people in different ways, because everybody can give out a turkey on Thanksgiving, right? Everybody can say, oh, I'm mentoring this person, I'm mentoring that person. I mentor kids, people older than me, and business colleagues. Like, don't look for change, be the change. And that's what my whole motion is. So Energy Check is going to be just as big as Nike, apparel-wise, if not bigger. and we're gonna be so big around the world that you're gonna be like, are you doing a world tour or something?
Yeah.
And that's what it's gonna be. It's gonna be a world tour of helping people get tapped in with their spirituality, and it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be crazy.
I saw that's awesome, man. That is really awesome. I saw recently you did, we talked about the pop-up shop, but tell us a little bit about the most recent runway show that you did,
right?
And setting that up, and what was that like?
So the most recent runway show that I had was for Juneteenth. We celebrated out there at Legacy West, and they wanted Energy Check to be a part of the show. And I was blown away because I was a model in the show as well.
Oh, wow.
So I'm like, okay, cool. They was like, this lady's going to go first, and then we're going to do your brand next. I'm like, okay, cool. I have my models come out. Everybody's cheering. It's beautiful. It's like 1,500 plus people there at this event in Legacy West. So I'm walking out to wave the people, thank you for cheering for my brand. They say, Nardi, turn around. I'm like, yes. So I had just had a baby 2 days before that.
That's right.
My firstborn child, Nardi Meyers, my little beautiful thing. That's my energy check right there, man. So I turn around, and it's Father's Day this day as well. So they're like, well, Nardi just had a kid, and he's a new father, and everybody's like, oh, right? I'm like, oh, right? So then they was like, everybody look at the screen. The video that I had posted the day after she was born, they had that playing on the screen.
Oh.
And the whole crowd was like, oh, like the energy in there was so amazing that if it was high, it's high. You're going to feel it. And if it's like sentimental, you're going to feel that too. Man, when I tell you, I've never felt so valued and appreciated. Like my first pop-up shop, this was different because my baby's on the screen and everybody was just so like, I'm so proud of you. That runway show was so lit. It was like you couldn't have planned it no better. It was sold out, even though you can't sell it out. It was just a lot of people. It was beautiful, man. And I was so thankful that I was a part of that because that elevated Energy Check once again. Because it's all about elevating the brand as you go and do things. That also boosted my modeling as well. So I am going to be the most world-renowned model and actor around the world as well too.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. What about Barber? You mentioned earlier that was a stepping stone to where you want to go, but is that something you want to continue long term? Something you thoroughly enjoy, or is that something that you look at as, hey, that was a fun phase in my life?
Yeah. So I look at that as just like you said, as a fun phase. That's where the hard work was put and built, like right there, me being a barber, because there was a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of long 3-hour trips back and forth to Austin just to come back to, continue cutting hair. And I love it. And I don't want to completely lose it because that's what started me, propelled me into where I'm at now. I still do it to this day, but I want to get to the point to where I'm able to put all of my energy into the Energy Check brand of me going into the schools more often, me finding a way to mentor more kids, because that's what my true passion is. Me cutting hair is something I taught myself that I turned into a business. You know what I'm saying? So that's fun to me. That's not a job. That's a hobby. I eventually want to get a few people to build a team and have them still doing that, because I don't think I could ever stop with that, because that's my business. But I want to redirect my energy fully into something else, because I see the bigger picture for my brand, and I got to hurry up, even though I got to take my time, because one life is precious. 2 life is even more precious. So the more people I can get and reach, I got to go get them.
How do you feel that being a former athlete has helped you throughout this journey and continued journey?
It helped with a lot. It's almost like going to the military. The comparison would be going to the military, because it teaches you brotherhood, discipline, and it teaches you how to be a man if you allow it to be. Oftentimes people try to put the blame on other people when you need to look at yourself in the mirror and say, is it me? And figure out what the problem is, because nobody really likes looking at themselves and say, okay, I'm the problem. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, but once you get to that point in your life and you realize that, then your success of life and maturity as a man will start to grow. And so I know that. And because of Pop Warner football, because of running AAU track as a kid, performing at the Junior Olympics, all of these things were all structured events. It wasn't like, even though in track, whenever you got your single event, you still represent your team. So what you do affects the team. Basketball, what you do affects the team. So as you get older in life and you start having kids, what you do affects the family. If you don't have kids, you got a mom, you got a dad, even if they're not active in your life, either or. What you do affects somebody or something. Mm-hmm. So you got to be careful and mindful of that. So why not be a good example, a great example of, hey, you know what? That's my boy right there. I'm proud of him. For somebody to say, hey, I know him. Right. So that's what I'm striving to continue to do every day. Like, I'm not complacent. I'm not satisfied where I'm at. It's a stepping stone. So it's time to keep moving forward.
How's your mom?
Man, amazing. That's
what does she think of all this right now?
She is actually blown away. She didn't want much from me but to just get a high school degree. And in return, I think without even knowing, that took some pressure off of me to even do more. Yeah. Right? She asked for the bare minimum. And then I went and do above and beyond. And so now she's like, son, I'm so proud of you. Now you got a daughter. Now people, like, whenever you see your son or your child loved by other people and they came from this town in a whole nother town that you're not even from, that's magical. And my mom used to always tell me, son, you so magical. And I never understood what she said or what she meant by that, but I used to take that as, okay, my mom just loved me. Like, she's supposed to tell me I'm magical.
Supposed to tell you that.
But because of that woman right there, man, I've been able to accomplish a lot. And I'm not done yet. And my goal of still trying to make her proud would never be fulfilled. So I'm still going to do whatever I can to figure out a way to keep making her proud.
That's awesome. Well, that's the first episode.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Nardi, for coming on board and telling your amazing story.
Yes, sir.
I mean, just so inspiring.
Yes, sir.
Of where you've come from, where you've been, the obstacles you've overcome, and the constant just, continuing to move forward and continuing to strive for perfection and not being complacent.
Yes, sir.
That's what's so beautiful about being former athletes, is the way it translates into the business world.
Yes, sir.
And to starting a business is, I'm sure you have plenty of stories of failures and lessons learned along the way, and going from such a high of almost going to the NFL to then being a valet driver.
Yes, sir.
To then going back to model at that same hotel that you were valeting for.
Yes, sir.
And that's just the beginning.
Yes,
I
sir.
mean, that's just such an awesome story, and I can't wait to see everything that you accomplish and everything that you do. And like I mentioned, I've always looked up to you, and couldn't think of a better first person to have on the show. So,
yes, sir. Well,
thanks again.
Before we leave, I got to give you your flowers, because you're doing a great job and you're killing it at what you're doing, right? You were already in Gatesville before I got there, and the expectations of people in Gatesville are not very high. So for you to be from there and still doing amazing things, you got to get your flowers as well, because you can't overlook that, man. And a lot of people wish they can do the things that you're doing. So I say congratulations, continue doing great things, and more life is on the way.
Appreciate it, man.
No problem.
Journey's not done.
Yes, sir.
Just beginning.
Absolutely.
I appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
That is Nardi Meyers. Energy Check. Check them out.
And we out.